Hey guys, it's me. I'm still freaking sick. I just can't get rid of this stuff. Uh, I hurt my shoulder. My back's messed up. I don't know what I've done. Currently out of work, waiting to get an MRI. I can use my arm, but it does not feel good. It's hurting right in here. My doctor seems to think I might have tore something. I'm not sure. Hopefully it's not the rotator. If it is, then I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I did have some x-rays done on my neck and stuff like that, and my neck's all right, but I did find out that I have a bone disease in my back, and it's slowly deteriorating, and eventually I'll probably not be able to walk. But for now, I'm good to go. Yeah, so finally out here in the shop. I've done a little bit of stuff. I actually just got over the stomach flu as of yesterday, and now I'm kind of getting the upper part of it, and I've just been sick. It's been retarded. I mean, crazy. On and off for months now. It seems like I'm good for a week and then I'm sick. Of course, my kid's in kindergarten and that's a cesspool. So it seems like every time she gets a little bit of snotty nose, Dad's running 110 temperature. I mean, I don't know. It's killing me. Anyways, back out here. I finally got some parts in, and I did some stuff on the golf cart, and I'll walk you around the golf cart here in a minute and show you some of the stuff I've done. It's nothing major. I've done some rust repair. I've posted some pictures the other day. This thing had a lot more rust in it than what I thought it did. Mainly where the battery would sit at on these is always a problem. Even my G9 that I've got, it was so bad I had to cut it all out and make new brackets. This one isn't that bad for that section, but the actual rocker parts, what I call the rocker panels, they were pretty bad. I cut out a big section and welded in new metal and did the best I could with it without having to replace the whole piece. It was so thin in some spots, I ended up using just JB Weld and smoothing it the best I could and sanding it down, and then I went back over everything and wire brushed all of it and put on metal, or I'm sorry, put on rust repair, or restore. Great stuff. POR is probably the best thing you could use, but that stuff's expensive. I mean, really expensive. I done a truck frame one time and all POR, and it was not cheap. But like I said, I done that, and I've got a couple things unbolted. I tried to get the driven pulley off the transmission, the rear end, but of course they actually take a puller, and I had said puller because I used it to replace the driven on my G9, and I don't know where it went. And then I went and bought one and got it, and then today, I found my old one laying in the floor under a bunch of crap. Go figure. Anyways, I thought that I would do some unboxing of some of the parts and show you some of the parts that I've gotten in. So let me get you guys set up, and we'll open some stuff and check out what I got. All right, guys, so here's a bunch of goodies. Of course, this is the engine mount. It's just a go-kart plate, and we're gonna take the original mount and fabricate it all to make it work. This is the driven pulley remover I was talking about. All it is it's basically like a steering wheel puller. Nothing extravagant. It wasn't but like 12 bucks, but still I had one and I couldn't find it. New throttle cable, because the one on here is completely seized. This is going to be our sprocket. It's dusty. We're going to use it with a 530 chain, and it is a 35 tooth. Hopefully that'll work out for replacing the driven. So we're going to get rid of the belt drive, the driven, and we're going to run this. So to do that, I haven't got that driven clutch off of there yet, but we're either going to run this, that's a 1-inch inside, or this, which is a 3/4 inside. So what we'll do is we'll put it on the shaft, get it where we want it, and then I'm going to ask a buddy of mine that works at a shop if he can mill this just a little bit, that'll slide in there, because it's actually supposed to go on this side, but there's too much space. So whatever one actually fits, I'm going to see if he can mill it down to fit this, because instead of bolting it on, I'm just going to weld it. And then of course you're supposed to run a keyway, and you got your set screws or Allen head screws, whatever you want to call it, to lock it onto the thing. Well, I will probably just go ahead and get it on there where it needs to be and just weld it straight to the shaft of the rear end. And you know, if anything ever happens, then I'll just cut it off and come up with something else. So that's that. So this, I do plan on running brake lights and stuff, and this is a simple little thing. My other one, my G9, I didn't do this. I ran a 1950s model Chevrolet intermittent switch on the brake and set it up. But all this is it's a pad, and when you put your foot on it, it's a switch, and it activates, and you got 2 wires that come out, and you hook that to your lights. So in this box we have got a whole bunch of connectors and fuses, and this is gonna be our new fuse box. Now this is made for marina, so it can get wet and it'll be all right. Of course, I will mount it someplace that hopefully it will not see that much water, but very simple. It's your wiring diagram. Positive, negative, and then of course I'll run all this like I did on my G9. It'll all be ran through a key switch, which I still got a ton of parts to order for this thing, but some of the stuff I ordered isn't even here yet. But then we've got this package. Oh, package within a package. This is our new choke cable. Hopefully it's long enough. Ordered the longest one I could find that was cheap to replace the factory one, and that way we can have choke right up on the dash or in the seat of the golf cart and not have to get off and choke it and all that good stuff. So got that, and we got the throttle cable. Over here, these are your nuts and bolts and stuff that came with the sprocket. These are some collars to for 3/4. I'm hoping that's about right, but my plan is I was going to lock these, kind of use these as a spacer on the axle, or not the axle, that's what they're for, but use it on the not transmission, good God, I'll get it right in a minute, on the rear end where the driven is to kind of line everything up. But we may not need it. But it's always something good to have. You never know. You can always use stuff like that on anything. So, this package now, I am all about some Amazon and cheapness. So I try to bargain shop as much as possible. Some things you can find at a very decent price, and some things you just got to pay for it. If you want what you're, if you're going to get what you actually need. Some things you could skimp a little on, some things you can't. So what that is our fuel pump. So I am going to run on this one. I plan on running a electric fuel pump instead of the mechanical. And the reason for that is on my G9 I run the mechanical, and it's got a 440 Duramax that's been cammed and had a couple things done to it, and it struggles for some reason to pull that fuel up. Once it gets going, it's fine, but the initial startup after letting it sit, she struggles. So this is supposed to be a low volume fuel pump, just 2 wires, positive, negative. We'll run it off of a relay, and we'll run it on either a separate switch, or we'll run it on key switch on off, just like you would any other accessory. So with that being said, I think they said the pressure rating on it was pretty low, like 1.0, what was it, 0.5 to 1.5 psi. So that should be plenty, if not too much. And if it is, we can always regulate it down. Not necessarily going to run an actual fuel pressure regulator, but there's other ways. You can always run a like a fuel cutoff and just slowly crack it open or closed to just have enough fuel going through it. I did that on a car that I ran a bigger turbo, excuse me, and it's supposed to have had a regulated oil inlet on the turbo, because if you over oiled it, well, then it killed the bearings. So same principle, I put a inline thing on it and adjusted it to where I thought it was just enough oil to keep the turbo going, but not over oil it. Believe it or not, that's just as bad as no oil. So on to, not this one. Oh, well, we can open this one first. This was just another one of them little things that's nice to have. Little accessories. And all these is little pins that you could put a keyway on the end of. And they're different sizes. And they work great. They're just a round pin with a slot in the end to put a Carter key or whatever you want. They're clevis pins is what they actually are. And I use those, I used them on my other golf cart, on these ends right here, to hook your throttle cable up and all that stuff. And it works great because you can actually drill a secondary hole in that, or whatever you need to do to run your your wire into it and then have a way to control your throttle like on the Predator here. So these are always good to have. You can use it for just about anything. And it comes in handy when you're going to do something like this. So, just little bits and pieces. Now, I guess we'll open this one, the Big Daddy. So, what's in the Big Daddy? It's something I've been waiting on. And I finally just bit the bullet and bought it. After searching and searching for something possibly cheaper. So, what's in this box, I've been waiting on. And it is a box inside of the box. Oh man, that thing's heavy. Oh. Oh, man, my arm. Let's get all this. Oh. So, this is going to be very interesting. So what this is, oh, there's some parts and some more parts and some more parts. Oh. This is going to be our forward and reverse unit. Yeah, so now, oh man, that thing is heavy. So this is going to enable us to use reverse on our Predator motor and use the factory rear end. So with that being said, I still got to buy the torque converter and the which is, it takes a 40 series driven, and I'm going to put a 40 series driver on the Predator. So this is your cables for forward and reverse, and this of course is a pretty nice shifter that we can mount, and it's got lockouts so you can lock it and it'll stay in neutral, lock it forward, and then lock it back. Pretty nice. And then this is all your, oh, it's got a hole in the bag. Oh. Let's see. So these are some of your mounts, and of course some bushings and all that great stuff. So that is what was in that box. Pretty neat stuff. So that's going to be, we can start getting all of the motor matched up and mounted and get it sit in there and see where we need to put it. So now, excuse me, let's see what's in this box. So this box, we have got bolts, this is actually our cradle that sits in, so I don't have to worry about trying to fab something to have that mount. So what I can do is mount that, say, off the back side of this or wherever I need to put it, and get the motor lined up and have it right behind the motor, and then we can either tack it, weld it, whatever we need to do, and have it good to go. Very awesome that I don't have to fabricate any of that. Awesome that it came with the bolts. And big shout out to Redbeard's Garage, because that's who made that part. He, as you guys know, if you've ever watched any of his stuff on YouTube, he's a big time YouTube guy. Builds all kinds of cool stuff, go-karts, mini bikes, golf carts. He is very knowledgeable on engines. He made this, and it's, you know, it's made very well. It's very well made, very well welded. He CNC cuts these. You can actually order them from his website. I think they're 120 bucks. Don't quote me on that. Let me see. I got the invoice. Yeah, it was 120 bucks and free shipping and handling, and it is for the 16 horsepower 40 series gearbox. Of course, you know, the gearbox is not included, but very awesome. So that means that, let's see which way it goes. Whoa. It's very hard to hold this thing. What, honey? Yes. Everybody, my daughter's driving me insane. She wants to say hi. You're on video, go ahead. Well, Dad messes with this. I can't remember. I watched how we put it in there, and I think anyways, I'll mess with it in a minute to get it in there. Alright, so that's what she looks like sitting down in it. It took me a minute to figure it out, but you know, I'm not the smartest in the world. So, yeah. So that'll work out awesome. We can... What? No, never mind. My kid.
She's laughing at you.
She's hilarious. Anyways. Anyways, that'll work out great. So yeah, that's going to be on one of our big to-dos. Is sorry guys, my little girl's something else. Anyways, yes, that'll be one of our big to-dos, and that'll be on our very soon upcoming video. God.
Buddy.
Yeah, she's a baddie, guys. Anyways, so yeah, that's gonna work out great. I figured I'd show you guys a couple things that I have done. And well, I've took the front bumper off of it, and like I said, I showed some pictures of it. I don't know if you guys have seen them. This thing has been hit pretty hard. It's actually bent it right here pretty bad. Hopefully I can straighten it out, heat it up, straighten it out. Yeah, they see you. All right, now stop. So over here I have fixed. All right guys, so this is what I done. This is what I was talking about by the rocker and it being in pretty bad shape. I cut out a bunch of it and welded a bunch of it, and it came out pretty decent. I had to straighten it. It had a lot of bends and dents and dings, and decided that I would go ahead and just use bed liner, and bedlined all of this, and that's probably what I'll do with the floor, is bedline it too. Now over here, this was really bad. Battery tray. and I put rust converter on it and hit it with bed liner, and it came out really good, or what I think is really good. Oh yeah, and I guess you guys haven't really got to see, I put this thing up on a gigantic workbench. I bought this chain hoist and hung it up there in the ceiling, which everybody, oh, your rafters are gonna rip and blah blah blah. No, it's fine. I ain't lifting a car. Done this side. It looks pretty good. It had a big, like it was caved in right here, and I tried to straighten it the best I could. It still got a pretty bad dent right here, and that is right where this comes together, and I can't get in there to I'd have to take the whole piece off and beat it back out flat. But I mean, it looks 100 times better than it did. All this was, I mean, it was way caved in. But yeah, I cleaned all that up. All that over there is cleaned up. And then, yeah, you can see the driven pulley. I tried to get it off, and I bent the freaking crap out of it trying to get it off. I tried to use a pulley puller, and yeah, it ain't gonna do it. So I guess that's what we're gonna work on, is see if we can pop that loose and see what happens. I did clean up the brake drum on this side and do the rust converter on it, because it was pretty bad, and it looks way better. Look at her trying to hide, be sneaky. Anyways, so yeah, right now I got a little sketchiness going on. I've got this one wheel off, and got this thing sitting on jack stands on the upper part of the body to hold it up. Got the bottom half sitting down on a 2x4 and a little piece of metal, and then I've got the chain hoist hooked to it to pull it up. So yeah, a little sketchiness. Well, you know, that's how I roll around here. Still got to do some more rust repair on this, and I've actually got the front bumper over here. It's in bad shape. Hang on. What am I stuck on over there, Willow? There we go.
Want me to get unstuck?
Yes, please.
Go.
Alright, so this GoPro, I love it, but boy, this thing really runs down a battery. But anyways, here is the front bumper, and boy, that thing is just ate to pieces. I tried to weld on it, and it's so thin that it just blows right through it no matter how low I set the welder. So what I did is I just got some JB Weld and filled in all the rust spots, and I'm going to sand all that down smooth, or grind it all down smooth, and then I'm going to reface the bumper itself with pieces of sheet like this. So yeah, well, the little girl's trying to sand already. All right, whoa, you're gonna knock it down. But anyways, I gotta cut another piece, and then I'm gonna section it. Stop. They can't hear over your sanding. I'm gonna section it, straighten it all out. Well, be careful, it's sharp. Cut your hand. And then I'll, you're weird. Yeah, as long as you keep it on this. So what I'll do is I'll set it on here, and then I'll trim it up, grind it all down to where it needs to be, and I'll just go around like you do when you're doing body work, and I'll just tack it a billion times all the way around, and then grind it all uniform. Same thing on this side. That way we got a nice outside look to the bumper, and it don't have all this pitting and dents and all that stuff. And yeah, because you cannot find these bumpers for these things anymore. And if you do, somebody wants a ridiculous amount of money for them, and they are usually bent all to crap. So, with that being said, I've got my cameraman here, and I don't know what she's looking at. Probably nothing I need to look at. So, over here, cameraman.
Camera girl.
Camera girl, cameraman. Let me see it for a second.
I'm a camera.
We're gonna set it up over here, and
Maybe the cameraman.
well, I'm gonna set it up on
No,
the tripod here.
No. I want to hold it.
Well, you don't need to hold it though.
I want to hold it.
You can help.
I want to be the cameraman.
Oh, okay, but you gotta hold very still, and you gotta shine it. Or well, I sound like I'm telling him to hold the flashlight the right way. Anyways, what I need you to do is hold it here where I'm going to be working at, so they can see me bolt the stuff on and all that stuff. All right?
Yeah. Action.
All right. So I got that bolted on there. So in case anybody wants to know, these are 10s, 10 millimeters, and it took me forever to find the elusive 10. And then the big bolt is a 22 mil. So hopefully, I think these things are under a little bit of pressure, so hopefully not too bad. So what we're going to do is see what happens here. There we go. Just like that. Popped her loose. Now, you can see how bad I bent that thing trying to pull it off with the other puller. And those threads didn't hold on very well. You can see these threads actually it barely grabbed anything on that side. So now that that's off, hopefully, goodness gracious, that one
Might need to get off with the drill.
No, I think we're gonna have to probably beat it off of there.
Oh gosh. Here we go.
Hold on, camera girl.
Don't you dare call me freaking camera girl.
What do you want me to call you?
Camera woman.
Camera woman. I'm sorry. I'm gonna spray just a little of the PB on there and let her sit for a minute. Can you hold that camera still there? The audience, they don't want to, you know, shake all over the place. So what we're gonna do is I put some PB Blaster on there, and I think what holds it in place is actually that little, I can't think of what it's called right now, key. So I probably have to get that key out of there, and that thing's under pressure. I know it is because it's spring loaded. So let's see if I can get that key out of there. Let me find a screwdriver. Don't be talking about me with the camera. I hear you.
What did I say?
I don't know, but I hear you. They're whispering. I gotta go all the way around. You're in my way. Hold the camera still, goofball.
I wasn't saying anything, I promise.
So, I know this has to come out of there, and this thing has to be shoved back somehow. I can't remember how I done it on my other one. I think I ratchet strapped it. Give me a minute. Let's see what I can come up with. Okay, so I was right. The last time I done this, I used a ratchet strap, and I ran it through and just hooked it around outside, hooked it over there, hooked it back here, just like so. And then all we got to do is ratchet it It's really hard to do. Here, camera girl, hold this right here. Is ratchet this.
Blah.
And then you can see, look over here, camera girl. It's pulling that back. So we just need it pulled back just enough that I can get in here and get this out of there. So we can pull this plastic piece out of there, and hopefully that whole thing will pop loose. So, all right, so we're gonna try something. Sometimes you can get lucky with these half moons and just hit them and they'll pop up, and it's starting to, but I really need it to pop up on the back side instead of the front side, like that. So there, it's starting to come up. Let's see if we can persuade it. And out she pops. So now, with that out of there, we pull the plastic, and now we can release the tension on the ratchet strap. Very easily. There we go. And now she is off. They actually make a tool for that, a compression tool, but you know, I'm cheap. So I do it the easy way. And there we go. So this thing is actually a tapered shaft, and it does look like it's the 3/4 one, which is great because it actually fits better than the half. We'll see. Let me grab some rags and we'll clean that up and see what it looks like. Alright, so I'm going to spray her with some brake clean. Take some paper towels and get most of this grease and stuff off of it. So, got most of the grease. We'll probably hit her one more time with brake clean. But that'll just help us be able to weld and see exactly where we're at on everything. So, don't have to be 100% perfect, but I'd like to get most of the grease off of it so I don't start it on fire. So there's that. I had a guy tell me that it's not quite, 3/4 isn't quite enough and half is too big, and he is right. So that means that thing is probably going to have to be, because it's tapered, the taper is 3/4, but up further it is probably a little bit bigger than that. And I think a half is going to be too much. But yeah, a 1 inch is way too big. So, with that being said, I do not have any way to turn that to make it the size I need. So what I'm going to do is I'll ask a buddy of mine, like I said, that he works at a machine and fabrication shop, and they have a lathe and all that stuff. I'm going to ask him if he can take that, and I'll go get my I can't even think of them, my calipers, and I'll gauge that and see exactly what size that is, because I don't want to be necessarily grinding on this I mean, I could actually grind it and then put a keyway in it and all that stuff, but I ain't gonna do all that. I just want to get it on there and then be able to slide it wherever I need it on here and then weld it. So I'll ask him, see what he says. If not, then I'll come up with something myself. Ain't the end of the world. So yeah, that's where we're at on that. And then we'll go from there. And I guess next thing we're going to do is unbolt the engine mount and all that great stuff. But first, we're going to have to unbox the Predator. And I want to get it up in here and actually see where it needs to set, where the reverse is going to sit, and then just kind of have it all played out so I know where and how. You can measure all day long, but sometimes seeing it is going to be the better thing, because I know like this has got to go, this has got to go. This itself can probably, we'll have to probably cut it. I'd say somewhere in here-ish, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Because my thinking is I can use maybe this back part to put where the reverse box is going to sit. So reverse box is going to sit somewhere in here as close to the rear end as we can possibly get it. And that way we have the shortest chain that we can actually run. That way less chain, less chance of breakage, and blah blah blah. Hopefully I can make it some way that we can move it forward or back to do tension on it and not have to run a chain tensioner. But if we do, we do. So I think for tonight, that is probably going to be about it. Tomorrow I'll come out and we'll hit it a little harder and possibly get the motor sat up in here and all that good stuff. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow.